Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. It's pretty nice outside today. Yeah, it looks quite dark in here, so I apologise if the lighting goes a bit funny. There might be some clouds over towards the sun, but I can see clear blue sky here. But yeah, it looks quite dull. I don't know what's going on. But yes, it looks like it's going to be a lovely day. I'm actually filming this earlier than usual. Maybe that's why the lighting's a bit off. Because I'll be uploading it as soon as I finish filming. Because I have to go shopping. I have to be an adult and deal with an adult situation this morning where my toilet seat is broken. So I have to go shopping and buy myself a new toilet seat. Oh, fun. So yeah, I was like, oh great, being adult, all these little things that just pop up that you have to deal with, and that was my thing I have to deal with today. So as promised, it's only been a week since you last saw me. Yay, I'm getting better at this. All I've been doing is working and writing lots and lots of documentation work in my work. So yeah, it kind of feels like this is a bit of a quiet period, as it were. So trying to get all of this stuff done that I've been saying I've wanted to get done for ages. So I've just been filling my days doing that and chilling out and relaxing after work. So yeah, it's been a good, very productive week, and yeah, I'm very happy with it. Just really annoying that my toilet seat decided to break, but there you go, life happens. But yeah, and I'm so excited that now we're seeing on social media that we've got what the Hallmarked Man is going to look like. It's only 3 weeks away now until it's published. I'm so excited, and I checked my Waterstones points card, and I have enough money to get it for free when it is released. Yay! So I think I've only ever paid, like, because when new hardback books get released, because they're usually about £25 each, they get released at half price for their initial run. So they're like £12.50. And I think only one of them, which I think was Ink Black Heart, I had £10 worth of points on my Waterstones card. So I had to pay the £2.50 difference. Other than that, all of the other books from book 2 onwards, because I bought book 1 full price, usual price, from book 2 onwards, I have got on release day, and because I've already got the points on my card, have paid for it like that. And I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, another one comes out and I'm able to get it for free. Yay! Very happy. So yeah, I'm just counting down the days now until the Hallmarked Man. I've got the full week off from work. I am super excited, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, let's talk about the book I have been reading, which is The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. And this edition, just so you know, this is a specially designed cover by Bookishly for an advent calendar that I got a few years back. And it's, if you take off the cover, you can see it's the Wordsworth Classic Edition, and this included The Merry Men and other stories as well. So it did have a collection of things, because Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, in this edition, is only 54 pages long. It's really, really short. So I was like, oh gosh, when I was reading, I was like, oh, where's the rest? What, the rest of the book? I thought it would be like 2/3 of this would be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and then the rest would be other stories. But no, it wasn't. Now, I am kind of focused on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde specifically, because obviously that is what the main thing of this book is, but just so you're aware, I did read the other stories as well, and I did enjoy them. I thought they were very interesting, but Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde just really captured me. So what is the story about? Well, it's very interesting. I'm trying to think of how do I describe it without revealing too much, because it's only 54 pages long. But Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde follows a lawyer called Mr. Upmost, and he kind of stumbles upon a story of a girl being battered to death by a man just at night down an alleyway in London and such. And he's intrigued by it, and so starts looking into it. And the name Edward Hyde comes up in his investigation, and he becomes transfixed in trying to find out who Mr. Hyde is. And on the way, he meets a man called Henry Jekyll, and it's all about the connection between these two men. Yeah, things get revealed, and I won't say any more than that, else I will be spoiling. Now, of course, the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, practically everybody knows the story and what the thing is about the story, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to spoil people who do not or may not know the story. Or kind of like me, where I went into this where, oh, I know what the thing is, but I don't know anything else about the story. So I'm like, yeah, it's just one of those things. I've never actually read the story, so I don't want to ruin it for people. So even though you might be watching this and go, well, everybody knows it. I mean, come on. True, but at the same time, not everyone does. So therefore, I'm not going to ruin it for anyone who hasn't read it. Now, as I said, it's only 54 pages long. It's not a long story at all. That is so interesting. It was first published in 1886, and I actually, when I read the part about this horrific death of this girl she was just there, she was just existing, there was no other reason for her to be killed. Her brutal murder happening in London by a man who's well dressed in a top hat with a cape through the dark shadows of London alleyways. I was thinking, oh, okay. And I couldn't help but think of Jack the Ripper, couldn't help but think it. And I was thinking, did this get published around the same time as Jack the Ripper, or just after? And I looked it up, and it's 1886. It's 2 years before the Jack the Ripper case happened. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I'm not saying that there's any kind of connection between Jekyll and Hyde and the true crime case, but still, it was just kind of, that's really interesting that Robert Louis Stevenson wrote of this imagery of this man and how the shadows, how he walks amongst the shadows and such, and just kills at random and everything. I just thought, I found that quite an interesting connection. Straight away, I was completely taken back by Robert Louis Stevenson's writing. Like, holy shit, where did this come from? Now, I will say, I have never ever read a Robert Louis Stevenson book before, and I know you're probably thinking, well, what about Treasure Island and Kidnapped and other stories of his? I've read chapters of his other works, but I've never read a full book of his. So, and I was talking to my sister and our bestie Sarah, hi Sarah, about it, that when my sister and I were young, we had this quite thick kind of like child compendium thing, which I think mum and dad still have in their house, of a collection of children's stories and poems and such, and it was structured that it was done by age. So you'd start off from very young, and then as the book got along, you were getting older and older and older. And when it came to those older stories like Treasure Island and Kidnapped and such, there'd be like a few chapters of it, and then it would just stop and move on to the next one. So it was then over to the person who was reading it to then go, I'm interested in that, I would like to go on and read the rest of the book and get a copy of it, basically. And I remember reading the Treasure Island and Kidnapped chapters in that book, but I never went on to then read those books. I got distracted by other things. So this was my first experience with Robert Louis Stevenson. And I have to say, I was really taken aback by the way he writes atmosphere, and in particular the way he wrote about the streets that that Upmost and walks down and everything, and where these crimes take place and such. That the way that he's very, very particular in writing about how the houses are structured, the number of windows, the textures of the brick walls and everything, and where you have like somewhat jutting out, or a kind of like the sloping of the roof, and how it the water runs down it, and things like that. And I was like, wait, why are you spending so much time talking about this? And then I realized that the thing was, well, it was twofold. Firstly, because you needed to understand the conditions in which Hyde was being seen, by witnesses and such of things, and how he's almost like he uses, well, okay, now I'm thinking three things really. The situation, the scenes that are being witnessed. Secondly, the way in which those buildings cast shadows and for Hyde to step in and out of without being seen. And thirdly, the fact that the streets become characters. They are witnesses just as much as people are. And I found it interesting the way that he counts the windows, the number of windows. And so it's like the number of eyes that are watching, even though there's no one behind those eyes, those windows. The buildings themselves are witnesses to everything that happens. And I was like, oh, okay, Robert, I'm liking this. I'm liking you. I'm really liking you. I'm thinking about the stories, his other stories that I know of, just to clarify, because I don't know his full bibliography, that he wrote some dark shit. He really, really did. It almost feels like he relished more, if that's the correct term to say, in the darker realities of life than the wondrous, shiny beauties. So, for example, let's take Treasure Island as an example. The fact that the way that it opens up, where we learn where Jim is and everything with his situation in life, and straight away we have like murder and death and darkness and such. And even when you go on the boat and they're like, yay, we're going off on this big adventure, it's like, yeah, but there's some nasty, sinister shit going on this boat. And then obviously getting to the island and what that means is a paradise, but it's not at the same time. I love the fact that he very much sees the dark aspects of life and society and presents that in such a strong way. I was like, oh damn, Robert Louis Stevenson, I think you might be one of my new favorite authors. And I say new, new to me, as it were, because I'm like, damn, okay. I am loving this. The last, I have to say, the way in which it's structured is very interesting as well. And there's a whole load of characters that we come across, that we learn about and get caught up in the turmoil of this story. And things just come out of nowhere. The level of violence, especially in this, just like, Jesus Christ. I mean, one person, I'm not going to say who, because again, spoilers, who is killed in this story, the description of because it's like a wooden like stick that they get killed with, you're told the amount of times that they get hit with, how the shattering of bones and the gore, and then it describes how rather than describing the body of the person once the murder has taken place, he describes instead the stick that they were killed with, and it's shattered to pieces under the countless blows that this person had to their body. And it's just that is so effective to say, to use the weapon to describe the quality of the weapon after the murder rather than the body of the individual. That says more. And it does that thing that where, because it's in your mind, you see it in a more horrific manner possibly than Robert, the person, the victim I'm here, I mean, than Robert may have described. But it brings that the power and the strength of Hyde and what he represents to the forefront. It's such a clever technique. And like the final like, I don't know, 10-15 pages, we are focused on Jekyll, and those 10-15 pages are so good I can't explain it. All the information just gets rolled out in front of you. And what is so interesting as well, and I need to bring in something that I saw that I will link down in the description as well, is that when I first read that 15-odd pages, I didn't feel that sympathy for Jekyll. And then I watched Reece Shearsmith's interpretation of him via The Read. Now, The Read, just so you know, is a BBC-related programme where they've done 3 series, but only series 3 is available on iPlayer. Sarah in America has looked, and it's not available on BBC America, so I don't know where you'd be able to watch it if you are able to watch it. But if you are able to access UK BBC iPlayer, the 3rd series is available, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is one of them. And The Read, basically what it does is that it gets actors to read the stories of books, novels, etc., in a 1-hour setting, straight to camera, kind of like what I am doing, straight to camera right now, or in another way, if you want to think of it, Alan Bennett's Talking Heads. And they basically read the book and so give their interpretation of these stories. And Reece Shearsmith is absolutely bloody brilliant actor, writer, director, producer. I love his series Inside Number 9 with Steve Pemberton and other works he's done, like, League of Gentlemen and such, but he's also done a load of other horror related dramas and radio plays and such. And so this kind of just fits him like a glove. And when he did that section with Jekyll, I felt something completely different. I actually felt sympathy for Jekyll. I was like, oh shit. He really delved into Jekyll's character and pulled something out of it. Like, it is a letter. It is a letter, those last 10-15 pages. But so I read it because it's a letter without emotion. And instead, what Reece did was that he brought emotion to that letter, and I saw it in a completely different way. And that was just so bloody brilliant. So I am going to include the link to the iPlayer page in the description for you to look up and everything and watch if you like. But yeah, I really bloody loved that. And when I was watching it, I was kind of reading along as well to see how well it's been done. And there's literally chunks of the book that have been taken out. It's only 54 pages, but he has only got an hour. And I did look at Audible just to get a comparison, and Audible audiobooks of Jekyll and Hyde are around 3 hours. So to do pretty much all of it in 1 hour, and do it in sort of a dramatic kind of style, because he's an actor at the same time, so he's able to bring that to saying various speeches and such. He did a marvelous job. And that letter with Jekyll at the end, it's pretty like it takes up about 25 minutes of 20, well, maybe more like 20. So let's say like 20 to 25 minutes of that hour is taken up on that letter, and he does it so brilliant, and it is verbatim that section, because I watched it again and I went and I read through that section with it, and it is all there. So I was like, God, that is good. And Reese did a brilliant job. So yes, if you've got access to BBC iPlayer, you want to experience Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but you don't have the book, you can watch the read and it's there for you. I haven't had time to watch any of the other ones in that series, but we've got Wuthering Heights, 1984, and A Christmas Carol. Christmas Carol is the longest, it's 73 minutes, and the other two are like 60, and I'm like, I'm really reluctant to watch the Wuthering Heights one because it's my favourite book, and I'm just going to go, why did you cut out that scene? Why? You can't do Wuthering Heights in an hour. It's not possible. But I really want to watch it because it's my favourite book. You know, I've got that turmoil in my head. But yeah, I really strongly recommend it. Really sadly that the first two series aren't available on iPlayer, and I've no idea how you'd be able to watch it, those two. But yeah, it would be interesting if they made the other ones available. But that adaptation, as it were, as I said, Reese brought so much emotion to that letter that I saw Jekyll's character in a different way. And that's what I love about audiobooks, or, you know, visual audiobooks or adaptations and such. It gives you the ability to question things and such, and especially with this story, because it's all about duality. It's the complexity of human nature. I actually looked on the Wikipedia page to look at the various things on there that I could see, and there was something really interesting on there where it's talking about the themes, and actually homosexuality is one of the themes, and it didn't register in my head when I was reading it that it was. But yes, that thing of the having aspects of, because it was very much looked down upon in Victorian society, that thing of grasping with something within yourself that you see as a negative thing. It's deemed a negative thing in Victorian society because it, you know, against everything moral and such. And that push-pull of Jekyll and Hyde and what the two characters relate to, and that struggle of having something, that Jekyll has something in his life that he wants to break apart from, and what that leads him to do. It's just so like, oh my God, it's a bloody theme. Homosexuality is a theme in this book that I just didn't register in my head. And like nationalism, because Scotland versus England, and the being part of the United Kingdom, and the want to Scotland to break free and such, and Robert Louis Stevenson was Scottish. There are so many things, themes, complexities, darknesses, just so many different aspects of human life, and it's 54 fucking pages long. I cannot get over how good this story is. It is insane. Oh my God, I loved it. It's a dark gothic story that I know has always been there, but I've never looked at. And now I've been thinking about what are other classic stories that I want to know. So Treasure Island and Kidnapped, because probably was Stevenson. And then I was thinking, you know what? There's a couple of other classic books that have always been like there in my mind as, you know, I'd like to read, never got around to. I want to read now. So I've got like The Man in the Iron Mask, The Count of Monte Cristo. I've said forever that I've wanted to read Middlemarch. Have I ever read it? No. Have I ever bought myself a copy? No. Am I going to buy myself a copy? Probably. You know, I'm just like, I've got all of these books now flooding my head, that classic literature that I know the stories, but I've never actually read, that I would really want to read now. And I love that. The fact that this short story has propelled me to to look into getting those. That's a wonderful thing. So yeah, I'm just like, Jesus. It was a roller coaster of 54 pages, and I have now read it 3 times. And I'm like, shit, that's so good. So good. Now, other adaptations that have existed, it's a story that I've never like watched a film or a TV adaptation, or I can think of a radio play adaptation of. It's just a story that's been there. So the only kind of adaptation, as it were, that I can say that I have consumed, as it were, is that Shearsmith, reading of it for the Read Series 3. So yeah, that's the only thing I have to hand to recommend, as it were. But if there are any adaptations of Jekyll and Hyde that you know of that you can recommend to me, please let me know. But yeah, I am so happy that I have finally read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So let's ask my usual questions. Would I read this again? Yes. The fact that I've read it 3 times in less than 24 hours, I'm like, yes, I'm going to read this again. Would I recommend it to anyone? Yes, definitely. Anyone, especially who likes dark Gothic literature, should definitely check out Jekyll and Hyde. Would I read any more of Robert Louis Stevenson's work? Well, the fact that I've just mentioned that I want to get my hands on Treasure Island and Kidnapped at the very least, then yes, certainly I am, and I will be looking to buy copies of those soon. So there we go. Those are my thoughts on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Oh, I forgot to mention, I love the names. There's the lawyer Utmost, so he's doing his utmost to find out who the killer is, and Hyde, the fact that he hides in the shadows and the duality stuff that he is in hiding until he is made to bring to the forefront to the light, but it usually is at night in the darkness. I love it so much. Anyway, that was my last point. So have you read this book? I'd love to know what you think. Leave a comment in the comments box below, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, tie to you like you decide. And I am going to film my next video announcing what my next reads are going to be. So yeah, and I hope you like those too. All right then, everyone, bye.